Hey everybody, Joe from Britical Saiyans here, and today I'm going to be going through the Brody deck and its sideboard for when we played the team tournament. So, yeah, there he is. There's much swollenness. So, yeah, I'm not really going to go through the cards as much. I'll explain why they're in there at like that count, but not so much the cards themselves because we've done this as a deck profile before. And it just saves my throat. So, without further ado, I'll go into the extra cards. So, we've got 3 of the control mechanism. So, only running it 3 because like 4 would clog and you'd end up without instead of a battle card. Plus, you can search it out with one of the Paragus anyway, so it's not a huge issue. 4 of the called Bloodlust because need some yellow in the deck, and if you can use Bloodlust, why not? Brody can, because it's frees his army. So, going for it. Got a single Crusher Ball. Mostly in there just to slow my opponent down, and to give me a bit of, like, a bit more yellow, and just, yeah, just slows down. Keeps me playing out and all sorts. For the negate, we have a singular Shocking Death Ball and 3 Wrathful Charge. I will put them into camera. So went down from 4 Wrathful to 3 just because if you tap out, which you tend to do with Brody because you don't have a lot of energy, it helps have the Sparking negate because you can achieve Sparking really easily. You just play out Brody and it'll happen. So, and you know, 3 negate, 3 negate. So going into the battle cards, we have 3 of our 1-drop Broly. Don't really need them at a high number because your lead can search them out, and you're only ever likely to play 1 during the game because of like it's costing you about 3 to 4 life to play him. So yeah, you don't want to die playing Broly. Again, we've got 3 copies of Chilai Freezeful Soldier. So she can draw your cards, and then if you have 2 energy, she can play another card out from your deck. Comes in.
Oh, okay.
You having fun there, bud? The Creeping Hand of Matt. That wasn't part of the deck, it just happened. So, this was one of the cards, like, I got a few questions on cards, and like, I'm going to try out some as I go through. So I was asked about playing this one fairly often. And so my reasoning was like, you can draw a card, you can play another one, and it's just like green fodder. Because if your only green stuff in the deck is just your Brody line, you can have issues. So Chilai just gave me a nice little option. And if I could play her out to do both her effects, I would. If not, I didn't care less. We got 3 copies of Whis. So he's just a yellow version of the Ball Ghost to mech around the opponent's energy. There's 4 copies of the Deadly Premonition Paragus. So again, just search power and being able to untap. Very useful. And now they're all foily, in case you can't tell, so I'm happy. And there's 2 copies of the Sacrifice, which I personally think you don't need more than 2 or 3, just because you're using him to kill Brodies and then you're killing him off at some point. So, you don't want to draw too much, your leader does that anyway, so no point decking yourself out early. Start with, for 2 drops, there's 2 copies of the Paragus and 2 of the Ever-Dependable Bulma. So, this is like the main question I actually got about the deck, is why the 2-2 split. Because a lot of people just did the 4 Paragus, or they did the Paragus and like the Vegeta, or whatever the other green sparking one is, or like Whis that came in set 6. I used the Bulma because you can activate it on 5, and most of the time when you're playing Brody, you take 2 from life using a 1-drop, you probably take 1 from an attack, you hit 5, and that's where things start to get difficult, because if you haven't killed your 1-drop, that's what's going to push you to 4 and awaken you. So if your opponent's trying to smack you, make you go force it, that when you do the Brody you're on 3 life, or 2 if you're crazy, you have a problem because like you spend the entire game with a low amount of life and you're going up the Brody chain whilst on the low life. Bomber acts really well defensively because you can active if you're a green Saiyan and 5 or less life. You still draw a card, still gets 10k, but it means you have more defense earlier on the deck, which is helpful because quite often people will just go mad at you the moment you see the 1-drop Brody and you've taken 2 life. They're like, right, I'm going to put you as low as I can before you awaken, because now you've got the choice of like when do you pop the Brody and how much you make the Brody take, and like the more that they do to you before you can like hit that magic number and do the magic chain of Brody, the more difficult your game is. So Bomber just helps slow them down, and Paragus active on 4, she's active on 5, so need I say more really. But it's like you can guarantee hitting 5 a lot easier than you can guarantee sparking, in my opinion. So, carrying on, we've got 4 copies of the Rampage triggered Paragus. So, you know, playing out the Brody control mechanism, popping them off to get Brodies and chain. And there's 3 copies of the Speedy Entrance Tree Lie. She's our free blocker if we pop something. You can only have 1 of her, but it's fine because like I said, she's free blocker. And much like the other Chile, it's just green fodder. More fodder the better. And why not Chile? She, you know, she's a friend of Brody. So, I think the rest of us, yeah, the rest of us just Brody chain, so I'll go over that kind of as a group. So, got 4 of the 4-drop. 4 of the 6-drop, 3 of the 8-drop, and 1 super special secret. So from the 4 to the 6-drop, you're discarding 2 to go into the next lineup. These 3 can all kill something during, like, as an active battle skill. This is where barrier stops becoming an issue. That's when cost stops becoming an issue. That one's limited, but you know it's a 4-drop, so don't expect it to be unlimited straight away. I think this is a secure lineup because you don't really need more of the 8-drop. If you have the secret, you don't need 4 of the 8-drop, in my opinion, because this makes up the final 8-drop. Because not only does it cost 8 itself, but if you pop the 8-drop, it's what you're going into. Otherwise, you probably would just run 4. And you don't really want to run less of them because you need to see them in your opening hand, really. Not this guy, though. Don't see him in your opening hand if you can help it. It does happen, and it did work for Matt as he's given me a look. Because it works in our game. But, in my opinion, if you start with this in your hand, it's like, oh boy, okay, I've got this, I've now got to wait till I hit the 8-drop. Otherwise this is just dead weight in your hand. And you might end up having to charge it or send it off for a combo or discard it, which you don't want to do because you're only 1, obviously. So, you just got to be careful about that. But yeah, that's how the main deck was. Majority of the time obviously switch it out for sideboard, which I'll be going through now. So to start with, there's 2 of the minus Achilles zone. So, active main, same 3 cards from your drop to the warp, draw a card, and your opponent can't play counter skills for the duration of turn.
Counterplay skills.
Counterplay skills.
So
Good point.
Yeah.
I ran this because I didn't want my opponent like cold bloodlusting me or crusher balling me when I was doing my chain, because it meant I couldn't do as much of it. If I got crusher balled on the 6-drop, I'd have to just immediately kill off into the 8-drop because I can't do its double striking. Again, if they did cold bloodlust, I lose a part of the chain. So this keeps us regular, and because like we only need sparking 7 for the leader and nothing else, we can lose 3 cards and we easily make them back up. And it's also important to note that if I do get comments saying like why is this in your sideboard, at the team event we could only run the card, so like only one person in our team could use like minus killing zone. Doesn't matter how many copies I use, only I could use it. So that's why I'm running it, because I was worried about things like cold bloodlust, and my teammates weren't so worried. I mean, it hurt them, but they had more like barrier or deflect on their cards than I did. But you know, every deck needs an intentional design for, otherwise, you know, you have the perfect deck and everyone plays it. I did run in my sideboard spare copies of these, just in case I need them. If my opponent was being quite aggressive and I was tapping up more, obviously I'd put the extra shocking ball in. If my opponent was getting a hand and my energy wasn't an issue, the extra raffle charge would go in. Simple as, it just gave me more options, or I could just have a fifth negate. Wasn't likely, but I could have a fifth negate. There is 2 preemptive strikes. So this largely helped with the mirror match and Janemba. So in the mirror match it was good against like the 4-drop Brody because it goes straight to drop, which means it doesn't activate its ability. Yada yada. Same with Janemba. If it didn't have deflect, which a lot of them do, thanks to Janemba, it stops them from doing anything because they just immediately go to drop. They can't mill me, can't get anything else. The agent structure would still get its untap, I think, but large part is you're killing off the Janembas, not putting them back in the deck for them, which is ideal, and you're not milling. So it slowed them down, and yeah, like I said in the mirror match, if they bring out the 4-drop, you could just send it away. And so they have to restart the chain by taking another 2 life plus extra, which hurts. And there is 3 of the Tragic Awakening. So active main sparking 7. If your leader's green freezer army, choose one of your energy placed in the drop. Then you choose up to 1 Brody BR with an energy cost of 6 or less from your drop and play it. So I'd run this if I was up against an aggressive opponent, or again Janemba, because Janemba would mill most of it into the drop anyway. If I was going up against an aggressive opponent, the chances are that I'm comboing these bits off. So, or if I'm just in a matchup where I'm struggling, it's like, okay, I'll put these in, because then I can, instead of trying to do the chain, I can just jump straight to 6-drop by comboing it away, / dumping it for however I can. Playing this out, I lose an energy, but I get what I need, so that's what matters more. Because probably you don't need a lot of energy to play, which is why it's so good. So, going to the battle cards of the sideboard, there is 2 of Super Saiyan Vegeta exploding with energy. So, I ran this instead of Crisis Crusher, because auto is kind of the same. So, auto, when you play this card, choose all of your opponent's battle cards an edge cost of 1 and KO them. I was about to say 1 or less automatically, but it doesn't work. So yeah, if your opponent was playing like a lot of 1-drops, you could just pay 1, bring this out and kill them all. I did decide it in like a couple of times because my opponent was playing like skills deck, so they had like a load of Gokus and the Android 8s. And it was just like, okay, I'll get this ready. Because the moment you spring that balls out, I'm just like, Vegeta, bye bye. Or again, potentially good for the mirror match because it's like forcing them to do the Brody in your turn, which means you can be more aggressive. But yeah, this is my alternate to Crisis Crusher, which I actually kind of prefer to some extent. But obviously, if you can run Crisis Crusher, run Crisis Crusher. It's just this is a nice handy option, and it's green, so it synergizes with the deck. Means you're not like charging a black energy once it's no longer useful as Crisis Crusher. This you can just be like, oh yeah, it's a green card, it'll do. So there is 2 of the Mercenary Tile Ruthless Trainer. I didn't really come across this myself, but I think I just kind of got lucky. So it's a 10k barrier. It has a opponent of, if your opponent's leader is green or yellow, reduce the energy cost of this card in hand by 1, so it became a 1-drop. And it had an auto once per turn, When a card in your hand is placed into your drop by an opponent's skill, the opponent chooses 3 cards in their hand and sends them to their warp. So it was a good way around discarding decks, because that was one major concern I had, is if my opponents forced me to discard in their turn, or like my turn, when I need to be doing it myself because of Broly, then I got to punish them for it. Because I need to discard my hand, I don't need you doing it for me, basically. So in this case, if my opponent was discarding cards from me, I'd be like, right, put this in, payback time. And it would like stop them from doing it, so I could just go at my own pace. And the last 2 cards, which bit of a weird tech in, but hear me out. 2 copies of the Figure of Majesty. So it can't attack. It has the activated once per turn, sparking 5, draw a card, and do one of the following. So it can either untap 2 of my energy, or up to 2 of my energy. I can choose a battle card with 2 less than my drop and play it. There's many that you would play, so don't worry. Or the final thing, which was choose your leader or one of your battle cards. It gains 5k and crit until the end of turn. The 5k and crit is why I ran it, because if you can put a Broly up with a crit, it's more devastating. Obviously my 3 main targets for that would be the 8 drop, the 6 drop, and the secret, because then you've got a 40, a 30, and a 45. They all have double strike, so they do double crit. It was good for the leader because it just gave some pressure on the leader, and like I said, sparking is not difficult. 4 energy isn't too unreasonable for it, so like Broly can play at 4. There's usually like a panic zone, but at the same time it's like, oh, I'm at 4, bit of a worry, but at the same time I can do this now. So, enjoy. But yeah, like, it comes in handy, it's just a bit of pressure, and the crit pressure is just fun. So, with that all being said and done, that is my Broly deck profile for the team tournament. Again, it's not as in-depth as the other one because I've kind of gone through this before. So, be sure to check that out if you want a more in-depth look at Broly. It doesn't have the sideboard, but its main deck is the same, I'm pretty sure. And yeah, so as always, leave your thoughts in the comments, we'd like to hear them. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.